Oh God, I'm still recording. I'm still recording. Hello, everybody. E here. Welcome back to another book review. Today we are talking about the National Book Award finalist, Kevin Powers' The Yellow Birds. This is a book about the Iraq War. In fact, the author says in here that he started writing the book. That's important. He started writing the book because people kept asking him, what was it like over there during his tour in Iraq? I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't want to read this book because I don't like reading. I don't like reading war stories. Uh, First off, because you never know which ones are going to get outed for stolen valor. Also, I know absolutely nothing about the military at all. Not Army, Navy. In fact, so much so that I tend not to write about people that are in the branches when I'm writing because I know absolutely nothing about that culture. Nothing. Zip, zilch, zero. And I admit that. So when I read these, I don't know if this is accurate or not. So I'm not going to talk about the accuracy of this book whatsoever. I will talk about things that happen, maybe some minor spoilers, but this is not the kind of book that has like twists and turns and all that. I thought it was going to be, and that is my only one and only criticism, is that it just kind of fizzled out at the end. And I know that's crazy for a book like this about wartime and all that stuff, but when you finally realize what happened to one of the characters, it was kind of meh. I mean, I was like, he had already built up so much of it that it seemed like, it's too much of a spoiler, but it seemed like the main character and one other character had more to do with what happened to the other character. And I'm trying to be as vague as possible because I mean, it says on the back who it's about and whatnot, but yeah, once again, I'm just trying to be vague, in case anybody out there wants to go and read this book, because I do recommend this book. By the way, I got a question. Does anybody remember A.G. McDonald? You remember him? Anyways, fantastic creator, doesn't create anymore. Did daily animated videos. And small, like had at one point only 1,000 subscribers. Anyways, fantastic channel. Go check it out if I hope he still has his stuff up. But anyways, back to Kevin Powers' The Yellow Birds. I also have no idea what the yellow birds means. I read somewhere that it's one of those chants, that the cadences that they do in the military, or it's a poem or something like that. I can't really remember. Sorry, I didn't do my due diligence and look it up. But what I want to focus on is the book, what is in the book. And I don't want to have to go look something up to figure out what the title means. So I don't know. It's never explained in the book what the title is. If it did, I completely missed it. A lot of this book, Kevin Powers is a poet. And he writes prose like a poet. Not that it rhymes or anything like that, but it's very punchy. It's got a beat you can dance to, you know? It grooves along. It's pretty. It's not just pretty, it's absolutely gorgeous. His writing is immaculate. That's another thing. I didn't find a single word out of place, not a single error, nothing. I didn't find anything in this. And that doesn't mean that there wasn't some. It just means that the language was so beautiful, I completely ignored it. There's one line in here especially that got me. It stuck with me, and I want to share it with you. It's not a spoiler, unless you consider a quote from the book a spoiler. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. He said in there that the remarkable had become usual, and the usual had become remarkable. And what he means in that context, and it was perfectly succinct, but it's such a great line that it stuck with me, is he had gone to war. He had seen these atrocities. He'd been in this action, this horrible experience, that when he got home, the usual felt remarkable. The usual felt like it had mysteries and secrets and stuff to uncover, stuff that he already knew, but he was so happy to be back that it was remarkable. But when he was over there in the war, it just became usual. It just became an everyday thing. Now, what I'm going to say next, it might upset some people, but I want to get this out there first. I have nothing but the utmost respect to all of our military branches, and I respect every military across the world, not just ours. I respect everybody who is willing to go and die for their beliefs, because it couldn't be me. I am not someone who, I signed up for the draft when I was supposed to and all that stuff, but they're not going to take me. I'm a big chunky boy. I got bad eyes, all that stuff. But I respect y'all. I really, really do. So what I'm going to say next is not a commentary on you as a soldier or airman or whatever you might be, Marine, whatever you might be. I am not commenting on you personally. I'm commenting on the system. I hope you understand that. With all due respect, this is what I have to say. Kevin Powers goes into what the military does to people to brainwash them into becoming killers. There's no way to beat around the bush. And they hammer it into them so much so that when they stop, that when they can't kill anymore, it's a problem for some of them. Some of them, not all of them. Then we have the PTSD. We have all the stuff that comes with wartime, and none of it is needed. Like why war exists to begin with is ridiculous. I don't know why we do it. And people are like, oh, for country, so that we can keep our own stuff, for freedom, you know, all that stuff. These are all just concepts we humans made up. Countries are just invisible lines in the sand. We are all just human beings. But he also tackles that in the book. How they have to look at these other cultures as subhuman just to be able to rationalize being in their land, murdering them. He also brings up the age-old thing, is like, of course they were killing us back because we invaded them. We went onto their territory. We murdered them for some politician. And most of the time it's about money. Most of the time it's about making the rich even richer, and has absolutely nothing to do with freedom. Has nothing to do with anything other than politics and money and brainwashing. He goes deep into that, the brainwashing aspect of it, about how they will hammer home certain ideals into your head and just keep hammering them and keep hammering them to a point where the poor man on his way home, and it just, I've heard about this before, and this is a fictional character. That's another thing. This is a completely fictional book, but this actually happens. They get so attached to their rifle, to their guns, to the things that they use to fight, to protect themselves, to murder other people. They get so attached to it that on the flight home, and whenever he didn't have his rifle, he would still go to hold his rifle. His hands would be in that position. Like it's like it becomes the child. It becomes their child. It becomes their best friend. They name their guns. And all of this stuff, I understand it. I get the mentality behind it, but it's still brainwashing. And that's what bothers me about the whole thing. Now, had I had a chance, would I have gone? I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't look back in my past and say, was I ever at a low enough point to want to go to do this? Because that's what they do. They take advantage of the broke, the impoverished, the destitute. They take advantage of these kids who can't afford college. They literally, so much so that they promote it. Hey, come fight and die for us, possibly die for us, and we'll give you college money. So we'll make your life better, but you got to go over here and murder these people first and hopefully not get murdered yourself. It's absolutely insane when you stop to think about it. But that's what war is. It's a bunch of rich people sending poor people to go die so that the rich people can become even richer. Now, once again, I respect and love all you guys out there that are in the military, because I could not do it, and I respect what I cannot do. At the same time, what they are doing to you is wrong. That's all I really have to say about that. And Kevin Powers, someone who was in the war, was in Iraq, has the same thing to say. He is echoing the same thing that I am saying. that y'all are treated terribly, and then you come home and you get these terrible benefits that don't do anything for the most broken of you. You know, the people losing limbs, lives, you know, and you can barely get in to be seen by a doctor. People going to, I have a friend who has run into this problem. That friend no longer exists because of opioid pain medicine, but it took him longer to get seen at the VA than it took me to get seen at a free clinic in the same town, in the same city. It took him 3 months longer to be seen than me because he had to wait. They had a waiting list, and I just got to go down to the clinic within a week and be seen. It's insane. On top of that, his benefits would not cover the free clinic. Well, it's a free clinic, but you know, if you have insurance, they still use the insurance. If you know how it works. Anyways, so all that being said, this book is fantastic. It is brutal. It is beautifully written. One of my favorite parts about the book is how beautiful it is written, but it's also beautifully written about horrible, terrible things. Now, is there enough in here for you gorehounds that only follow me for the horror? Maybe, yeah. There's dismembered bodies. There's a body stuffed with a bomb. There's decapitations. There's all different kinds of, all the war stuff. All the usual war stuff is in here to great detail. But I think the worst one was kind of overdone, and that's what I meant about the ending of it. Because earlier in the book, he seems to predict what's going to happen to the character. A certain section of this person's anatomy is cut off, and that ends up happening. But then again, the book is written as if, you know, from the future. So he's already gone through this and whatnot. So maybe he just dropped that in there. I don't know. Kevin Powers, I will read everything he writes just because I love his writing. But I'm only giving this one 4 stars because we're all the passion kind of died away at the end. And I think that was on purpose. I think he wanted to show how desensitized he had become and how the character had become and just what war does to you. But at the same time, it's a book. It is fiction. It needs a climax. It needs something to happen beyond, you know, because that's how the book ends. The characters like even says, "Does it matter?" That is a very deep line, though. Like, doesn't matter what we did, doesn't matter what I did, doesn't matter what the book did, you know, any of that stuff. It's very, very deep. But anyways, here at the end, especially around the 4th of July, I want to say again that I have nothing but respect for those of you in the military. It's just like, I don't hate religious people. I'm an atheist, but I don't hate religious people. I hate religion. I don't hate people who serve, but I do hate that you have to. I hope that makes sense. If not, yell at me down there in the doobly-doo. But until next time, I have been E, you have been you. This has been another book review. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.